So I have a kind of weird and, like, let's call it diverse job history. And one of the jobs that I did was I was in forestry for about 10 years, like on and off throughout the year, and then I'd pick up other jobs. And anyway, one of my favorite stories, I ended up working alone a lot. I planted 8 years, I tree planted for 8 years, and then I did 2 years of quality checking. So that means I'm following along behind the crews, making sure that what they plant is to standard. So we had a big crew, they were planting a lot of trees. I was only one person, so I had to like move to keep up. And there was one day, and this was the same day I got 2 speeding tickets in 24 hours. That was fun. One in the morning and one in the evening, both from the same cop. He was not pleased with me. But I'm about, let's say, probably 150, 160 kilometers away from the closest town. And I'm about 100-ish kilometers away from the closest camp. And my tire just like pops on a dirt road, just like loses it, instantly lurches down, and I knew it was happening, so I pull over and I ratchet up the truck and I grab the spare out of the back, I take the old tire off, and then I go to put the new one on, and I'm like, oh, strange. There's 4 holes for 5 bolts. Fuck. So that's how I found out that the person who was in charge of maintaining and upkeeping the truck I had been driving put in the wrong fucking spare tire. So that was neat. And I'm just waiting there. It starts raining. I actually started just lying under the truck because I was out of radio range. I was out of cell phone range. I didn't have a patch kit in the truck because someone else had borrowed it earlier in the week. And I'm just, you know, thrilled to be there. I'm excited. Everything's great. And I start hearing something out in the distance, so I get out from under the truck. And I'm just waiting, hoping it's someone who can actually help me. And it's this French-Canadian dude in a huge pickup truck from I think it's a mining company he was with. And he's just like, "What's the problem?" And he starts asking me what's going on. And I just told him, I'm like, fucking, this tire, man, doesn't fit, so I'm just stuck here on the side of the road. Don't worry. So he gets out of the truck, grabs my tire, throws it in the back of his truck, and he goes, "You're coming with me." And he's like fucking everything you can imagine a French-Canadian bushman looking like. And he's just gruff looking, very fucking, it just matted everything. He kind of looks like the kind of person you would expect to be murdered by. Anyway, he drives me back and he's like, "I'm going to take you back to camp and we're going to fix this." So he takes me back to their like campsite. And inside one of those huge shipping bins that you see stacked on top of like freight boats or whatever, I don't know. But you know what I'm talking about. That's his office. He's the camp mechanic. So he just like hauls the tire out, brings me inside, and I'm like, I can do that. Now that we have the tools, you know, I can patch up the tire. And he's like, "No, you've had a rough day. You sit." So I sit, and he's just bustling around, and he makes me this cup of coffee, and I'm just sitting there completely blown away at my luck. And just like nothing, expert hands, just you can tell this guy's been doing this a lot. He just patches up the tire and he's talking to me. He's asking me about what the job's like, what it's like tree planting. He tells me he spends most of his time alone at camp because everyone else leaves for the day, and then he's there like fixing equipment or whatever. So he brings me back to my truck and I'm like, "Thanks so much, man." And I go to take my tire and he's like, No. He takes my tire out, he brings it out, and he's just talking to me again while he's putting my tire back on my truck. And he's just like, I'd feel better if I put it on. So he puts it on, and then he gets up, shakes as much of the dirt and rain off of his hands as he can. We lower the truck, put the jack back. And this is it just felt so surreal that this man had just come out of nowhere, perfect placement, perfect timing. And the last thing he said was just one of the coolest things I've had happen to me. It ended that moment really well. As he puts out his hand to shake mine, and he goes, "It just goes to show, sometimes you think you're alone, but you're not." And then he just said goodbye and he took off. But I just, like, it was at the end of one of the shittiest days I could have had. 2 fucking speeding tickets in the middle of it. And I just ran into this phantom Frenchman out in the middle of the woods who solved my problem and is like one of the sweetest people I'd ever met. So yeah. That's my dumb little fucking story.